Hey, now normally all my videos is you watching me build something and then I explain how I did it and what I built. But this video is a little bit different because last week I wasn't here. I was actually on vacation in the woods, elk hunting. But I still wanted to bring you a video, so my employee Craig, who usually does all the administrative stuff like writing emails and dealing with sponsors, well, I had this funny idea that maybe I'd make him build a piece of furniture while I was gone. Now keep in mind, Craig has never built anything before. He doesn't know how to build furniture, he's not a woodworker, but he's seen me do it a lot. So I have all the utmost confidence that he can handle it. But I don't know. So I'm gonna watch the video as you watch it, and I'm gonna do the voiceover. I don't know what he built, I don't know if he was successful, and I don't really know what's gonna happen. So follow along and let's find out together. All right, I'm a little nervous, but I'm gonna start watching this video and, well, we'll see how he does. Looks like he's starting at the hardwood center. It's a good place to start. I guess my main question is, how is he gonna fit wood inside of his charger? All right, he's got some employees helping him pick out wood. Aha, here we go. Looks like he's got some white oak, some 13/16ths, and yes, as I suspected. That's all right. We did that same thing in England. It was fine. Oh, okay. He's gonna have the people at the hardwood center cut down the boards for him. He really must not be making anything too large because those boards were not very long. He didn't get very much wood either. Now this is the first time Craig has ever used a joiner, which is a little scary. I told him the one thing he can't do is cut a finger off while I'm gone, but it looks like he got a straight edge on those boards. Straight over to the table saw, so no face joining, which is fine because normally the boards are okay. And now it looks like he is cutting them to width. All right. Oh, he tests it to make sure. Yeah, my table saw is accurate, Craig, obviously. Don't have to be too excited. And then he continues cutting things down. And then, okay, the planer. You can't figure out how to turn it on. Yet you have to pull out the stop button before you can engage it. See how long this takes him. Guarantee he did a Google search to figure out how to turn this on. Click, there you go. Ah, yes. Now it's interesting he's planing these boards down because they're already about 3/4 of an inch, so how thin are you gonna make them? And he's wearing safety glasses with the planer. It's probably the one tool in the shop that you're least likely to hurt your eyes on, but that's okay. All right, now he's trying to figure out a grain pattern. So that is gonna be, I'm gonna guess like a console tabletop, if I had to guess right away, because it's not very big. It's definitely not like a dining room table, and it looks too skinny for a coffee table. Spread and glue, so he's going no dominoes, which is fine. I do that all the time. Your boards just have to be milled up really well or you're going to deal with a bunch of alignment issues. But they actually look like they're pretty flat and square. They're coming together nicely. Aha! He's seen me do this before. I like to put clamps on the end of my seams. That helps with the alignment. Keeps everything in line before you really clamp it down. Now, I do this to help get my seams right. I can tell he does not know why I hit it with a hammer because he's just randomly hitting places for the fun of it, so that's funny. Okay, so he's got a top for something and now he's back over to the joiner. This looks like a little bit thicker wood. Maybe that's like 5/4, and he's milling that all up. What are you doing? I don't know what he's doing here. Okay, now he's got some really beefy wood. This is like 8/4 white oak. And he's going to try and wrestle that thing through the... Yeah, that looks a little too curved on the bottom. That's going to take forever to send through the joiner. Ah, smart guy. So I usually do this first before I send boards through the joiner. If they got a big curve on them, I cut a somewhat straight edge on the track saw. And that really limits the amount of time you got to spend on the joiner. And now we're randomly working with plywood. So I wonder what's going on here. Okay, he's definitely gonna make a template, I think. to cut that shape out of, I'm assuming, that solid 8/4 white oak. All right, so now he's cutting out the shape of his template on the bandsaw. Smart. I usually like to stay just off the line and then do exactly what he's doing here. See, he is a smart guy. Then you sand to your line, kind of fine tune it a little bit. Good job. And now, see, this is smart too. Cut down your thick stock before you mill it up. There's no reason to wrestle that giant piece through the joiner planer. All right, it looks like he's saying he wants it a little bit thinner. So I assume we're gonna head over to the planer with this. 1 3/4 inches thick is what he wants. Bye-bye. Yeah, because he spent all the time tracing that out and now he's gonna send it through the planer. So goodbye to your outline. Now we're gonna trace out that shape again, and then I assume he's gonna try and cut that shape out over on the bandsaw, which is good because you don't want to run that whole thing through the router. So this is pretty normal procedure. Cut as close to that line as you can get, but obviously you don't want to go over that line because that's what your template's for, and you'll clean it up with the router. So he's just trimming off all the fat, which is good. Little zip, a little zap, a little zoop. He's getting that all worked out and figured out. Now that blade's a little thick to make that turn. Oh, he couldn't make the turn. So, oh, this is not gonna go good. 8/4 white oak with a jigsaw. And I know that blade is old because I've been meaning to change it out. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's gonna start a fire. So let me pause the video for a second. Now, what I would have done here is either switch out the blade on the bandsaw so that you could make that curve, or if you just start cutting off kind of wedges and give yourself enough room to get that blade in there, he could have cut that line with the bandsaw. As you can see, the jigsaw is going to just, he gets it done, I think, but yeah, as you can see, there's a ton of burn on that piece. Not the easiest way to do it, cutting 8/4 with a jigsaw. So now he's got that 8/4 piece cut out, and he added some double-sided tape, and he's gonna stick this template on there, and he's gonna cut it on the router table. Oh boy, that is not the best router bit for the job. What he really should be using is an upcut, downcut compression bit. I like the ones from Bits and Bits because you can really go any direction. You're not gonna get tear out. That's just a straight blade flush trim bit, which I do not like, but it should work. As long as he keeps running that piece in the right direction. It's going to be interesting right there where he gets to the end grain. I would be shocked if he doesn't get a little tear out on this with those, oh, see, slow-mo. Oh, Craig edited this whole video, so I'm just watching it as he goes. Yeah, you got a little chip out with that straight blade. That'll happen. Yep, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. But he's just gonna keep going, which is fine. You can just reshape or sand that out. I'm sure it'll be okay. Now at this point, I still don't know what he's building exactly, but okay. I'm going with bench, right? That's gotta be some really, yeah, really low backed, kind of modern style bench. I'm getting it now. So the glue up he did earlier has to be the bench seat. It looks like he doesn't love the shape that he chose for those side pieces though, so I think he's gonna alter them just a little bit. Yep, he's gonna add a little more angle. I do this all the time. I'm halfway through a design and something just doesn't look right, and so I just change, go a different direction mid-design, so completely normal. It's also normal for Craig when he doesn't know how to do something is he has the neighbor boy come over who's 7 and gets advice from that kid. So that makes sense too. All right, he recut the pieces, but he's still got this tear out on the end. So, very smart. He's got 2 pieces. They need to stay identical. So instead of sanding them individually, he's clamping them together, sanding them at the same time. Super smart. That way you get 2 identical pieces and you can sand away all that chip out. Looking good. Way to go, Craig. Okay, so his glue up is all dry. Gonna take that out of clamps. Looks pretty good. It almost looks like he used riffsawn oak. That's some pretty oak. It's not too wide to send through the planer, so back over to the planer to get rid of all those glue seams, and now it's nice and smooth. Now I am a little concerned because that's pretty thin for a bench seat. I hope he's gonna have some good support under there. So now he's gonna try and trim the edges and get them square, and he's got this woodpecker square edge guide that works with the Festool track, and he obviously doesn't know. There you go. Goes on that side. You got to figure it out. So that just ensures that you cut a nice square cut every time to the front edge of your board. Just like me, doesn't hook up the dust extraction. I don't do it because I'm too lazy, which I assume is why he's not hooking it up. Ah, see, this is smart. Don't always assume that your cut is square. Check it every time. So he checked to make sure it's square. Now he's got a nice bench top. And then what is he doing here? It's so fun trying to guess what his mind is doing. All right, I think this is that back support piece. He's trying to cut it the same length as his bench top. He could have used a tape measure, but I guess in his mind it was easier to carry the whole bench seat over there. All right, so he's got his seat, he's got his two little side arms, and he's got his little back. But now for the tricky part, the joinery. How are you gonna do it, Craig? How are you gonna hook those pieces to your sides? I know what I would do, but I'm curious what you're gonna do. Oh, jeez, here we go.
Thank you for being a friend.
Jerry.
Travel down.
What's up, man?
How's it going, man?
Yeah, Jason said you might be calling.
Yeah, dude, I'm in the shop by myself this week. I'm a bit stuck, though. So I was wondering if I could pick your brain real quick.
Well, you kind of told me not to help you, so on the other hand, he is kind of a dingus, so what do you got?
Your mom's a dingus.
I don't quite know how to join some pieces together.
Piece of cake, man. First thing you want to do is then
Oh, you know this isn't the way that this happens.
It's very
I guarantee
important.
Keith
Never,
helped him
ever,
out.
no matter what you do.
Keith's too much of a nice guy not to help him.
All right? Once you do all that, I mean, it really should be smooth sailing from there. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Good luck, man. Well, Jerry, he's...
Oh, boy. All right, so Craig, you got to hook those two pieces, side and bottom, into your little arms. So what I would do is I would just use the domino joiner because that seems the easiest. He's never used a domino joiner, but he's seen me use it a lot, so I feel like he knows the concept and how to use it. So now he's gonna inset those pieces. So he's getting it all marked and laid out how much he wants those pieces inset, which is smart. I think it'll look way better to inset those a little bit than have them flush on the back and the bottom. And looky there, he's got the domino joiner out. Now this isn't the easiest way to use the domino joiner because he's gonna have to add some mortises in the middle of those arm pieces. So he's really gonna have to have it, oh, yep. Using that patented hip thrust. That's how you do it. Good job. Anyways, he's really going to have everything laid out precise. Yep. Now you got to cut the mortises in those. Let's see how he does it. Not sure. Oh, okay. He's trying to mark where the dominoes go. Okay, in the bench because he's still got a mortise out. Those. So he's lining them up using that hip thrust. Very nice. Now I see that he has it. No, he's got it on the tight setting. All right. I don't even know if he knows what that switch on the top of the domino joiner does. Basically, you can switch the mortises around from loose to tight. Anyways. So he doesn't have to go that far in the middle, so he's still able to basically use it like a normal domino joiner setup. So that wasn't too hard. And we're just going to hope that everything lines up. But it looks, based on his markings, that it should slide in there. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Well done, Craig. He did it. He's so excited. All right, before assembly, he's going to soften that edge. Very smart, because you can't do it afterwards. Well, you could. It would just be really hard to get in those corners. You'd have to do those corners by hand or something. Now what are you doing? You're going to stick that to a piece of plywood, but why? Oh, okay. That's an interesting choice. I would have just, held on to it with my hand, but that's all right. He's also using the router in both directions, which is fine because he's not taking off a lot of material, but now, time to sand. Craig's really good at sanding, so this is the one thing he's going to have no problem with, but of course, he's going to make some mockery of the situation. He's mad because I always make him sand. Oh, I see. I'm Jason. Oh, Craig asked me to sand. It's probably the voice he wanted there. But, alas, Craig is all alone, so he has to sand it himself. Alright, now it's time for glue up. He added a round over to those side pieces. That looks really nice, really softened that edge. So he's adding glue to all those mortises. A little glue on the dominoes, hopefully. And then it'll be interesting to see how he clamps this all together. I mean, we have clamps that long, so he should be okay. Oh boy, don't snap your dominoes in half. Yikes, that was close. That would have been really funny, too, if he snapped them in half. He obviously, the way he edited this, it doesn't look like it, but he obviously had a few issues with this, because that piece was in and now it's out. Now it's back in. All right. Climb up on the table. Nothing wrong with that. Looks like everything's lining up fairly well. He's going to use the big bar clamps, which makes sense. And you see he even has a little scrap piece of wood protecting the piece from the clamp, which is very smart. He's seen me do that a lot. That is a lot of clamps, but that's, let's be honest, I would have used just as many clamps. And then, okay, we're fast forwarding here. It must be dry, and now we're taking it out of clamps. Looky there, all glued together. It just is a very low bench. I assume he's gonna build some sort of base for that. Or just go the old-fashioned route and use some Festool sustainers. Now you see that bench is only 3/4 of an inch thick, and I'm a little worried about it bowing in the middle. So I'm very curious to see what his base situation is going to be. So it looks like we've got some more 8/4 walnut. That might only be 6/4. It's really hard to tell just looking at a video. So I kind of see a drawing of some legs there. But I really hope he's not just going to build those legs and just stick them on the bottom, because I really think there needs to be some support in the middle of that bench so it doesn't sag. But hey, he's not done yet. Let's just let the man work. So he's obviously making some more templates out of some 1/4-inch plywood to get his leg shape all figured out. Cutting them out with a track saw. Definitely the easiest way to cut a kind of tapered leg template like that. Looks good. Now he's going over to the oscillating belt sander. Not sure what he's doing here. Looks like he's trying to get a flat surface, probably for his joinery. I probably wouldn't have used the belt sander for that. I probably would have used the chop saw or the track saw again, just to make sure you can get a more consistent cut that way. But looks like he got it done with the belt sander. Now he's tracing out those shapes onto that wood. Definitely think he could have fit 3 pieces across there. Looks like he could, at least, but it's all right. It's only business money he's spending. Might as well waste a bunch of wood. I was about to say it doesn't grow on trees, but in this case, it literally does grow on trees. It is trees, so.
Now this might surprise you, but when it comes to technology, I really don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know how to send a Mimi, I don't know what the heck a GIF is, and I still can't figure out how to open Windows on my MacBook. But all that being said, I still managed to create a professional looking website because Squarespace is freaking awesome, which is why I'm super happy that they're one of our sponsors. If you don't believe me, come around here, I'm gonna show you how my website functions, and I don't even know what I'm doing. When you go to squarespace.com, all you gotta do is click Get Started. Then they're gonna walk you through step by step how you wanna build your website. We started with a generic template and we built this, our own personal website at bourbonmoth.com. Now, the cool thing about our website is it allows us to sell the usual stuff like hats and t-shirts, but did you know we also have a little mini woodworking store right on our website where we sell Japanese pole saws, our custom stop blocks, all our favorite tools were so easy to add and sell right from the platform. And the thing I really love about Squarespace is it also allows us to sell digital items like our plan library. Here you can purchase our plans and they're automatically emailed directly to your inbox when you purchase them, and you can download them and build all of our fancy stuff. The other nice thing about Squarespace is that occasionally we go to in-person events and we want to sell hats and t-shirts and merch directly to the people. Well, we can connect a Square Reader right to our Squarespace website. We can do in-person point of sale and it's connected to the website, so it automatically manages all of our inventory on the website and we don't even have to update it ourselves. We can do email lists, so we can send out monthly newsletters. You can customize your domain. I'm telling you, the options are endless. I'm telling you, with Squarespace, building a website could not be easier. And all you have to do if you want to check it out is go to squarespace.com/bourbonmothwoodworking and you will get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Anywho, now that he's got all those shapes traced out, he is going to cut them first on the chop saw, which is fine because it looks like they're perfectly square at the top. And then over to the bandsaw. Now see, he is cutting pretty darn close to that line, which, I mean, you want to be close because you don't want to take too much off with the router, but you also don't want to go over that line or your template's not going to cut a really crisp line. You're going to have some indentations in there. Back over to the router table with that straight blade bit, which seems to honestly be doing okay for the most part. He didn't want to do the end grain with the bit this time, which is smart because he got all that chip out last time. So he did that with the belt sander, which is okay. And yeah, those look pretty good. But I'm not thinking, yeah, he's going to spread those out. There's no way that was going to be his leg. All right, so now it's time to lay out your leg design. He's obviously going to add some sort of stretcher piece in the middle, so he's just trying to figure out here how wide that stretcher piece needs to be and how thick it needs to be to land on that flat spot he created on those legs. With all those measurements apparently figured out, he's going over the table saw to cut down that stretcher piece to the right width and then cut it to the right length over on the chop saw. And now it's time to join those pieces together. I would have to assume he's going to use the domino joiner again because definitely the easiest way to join that up. So yes, he's going to use dominoes. Because this is like the legs, this is what's going to support the bench, I probably would have used beefier dominoes. He's got 8mm by 50mm in there, which I think will be okay, but if it was me, I probably would have done 2 dominoes in there, and I would have done longer, beefier ones, like a 10mm by 100 or something. But hopefully his bench stays erect, for lack of a better term. He's using some clamping cauls, which is very smart because it's hard to clamp those angles. So he's got a little wedge piece on the right there, and that helps just ensure he gets nice even clamping pressure. So well done. Now I assume he clamped up 2 sets of legs, although he didn't show it, but I mean, obviously. Now he's got to figure out the stretchers. Okay, so he is gonna have some connecting stretchers from leg to leg, which is really smart because that's going to help support that bench top. Good thinking. So he's back over to the joiner, back over to the table saw, back over to the planer, doing all the milling steps, and boom, he's got his 2 stretcher pieces cut to length, all milled up. Now he's got to get those laid out. So I think what he's motioning there is he wants to put some connecting supports in the middle of those pieces, which is a good idea. He's marking everything out because he's going to have to mortise out for his dominoes, which I assume is how he's going to hook all this together, because why not? He's obviously got that thing figured out, so makes sense that he would keep using that method. don't exactly know what he's trying to figure out here. Maybe he doesn't know how to add a domino in the middle of a board like that. Oh boy, who are you going to call this time?
Craig, what up, buddy?
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing with Jason gone?
Actually, surprisingly well. I'm a little stuck. You know, you're always talking about joinery.
Whoa. Hey, listen, Craig, Jason warned me you might try and call me. I can't help you.
Oh my gosh.
I shouldn't even be picking up the phone, honestly.
Listen, I can't help you. I'm sorry. I know we're friends, but I can't do anything for you.
You bribed me with a nice bottle of Weller's if I promise not to help you.
Okay, thanks for nothing. Hey, Cam, it's Craig down at Bourbon Moth.
I know who you are. You guys blew up the epoxy table.
Yeah, man, what'd you think about that? That was kind of funny, huh?
You know how hard I work on epoxy tables?
Not very hard, I don't think. I have a woodworking question. Is that something you could help me with, or?
Epoxy.
We'll talk to you later. Dude. Bye.
Oh. What does he have? Dowels? Craig, it's not that hard to use the domino joiner in the middle of a board. You just got to change the little fence on the domino joiner around. It's much harder to do dowels in the middle of a board. I really don't understand why this in particular is tripping him up. So it's actually very easy to use the domino joiner in the middle of a board. All you have to do is draw a big X, and then there's little tick marks on the front and back of the domino joiner and the side. You line it up on that X and you plunge it. This will be interesting. And it's funny that it's not his fault. He didn't know. If you don't use the domino joiner, how would you know? Let's put some dowels in there. All right, so he's found his marks in the center of those boards, and now he's going to drill through the end of those boards on the drill press, okay, he's drilling into his stretchers there. He's got a piece of tape so he doesn't go too far. You could also just set the drill press so it wouldn't go too far, but don't think he realizes that. I would have liked to see him drill in the end of those boards on the drill press, because that would have been a little suspect. But I don't know if he's going to show that part. Adding glue to his holes, tapping his dowels in there. I mean, this is going to work fine. It's just funny. He also could have just cut a dado slot in there and slid them in and glued them up that way. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. But remember, Craig has never built anything, so it's pretty good that he's doing as well as he is. All right, so he had to take the base plate off the drill press to get enough depth, which is really funny. I probably would have just used a doweling jig, but I don't think he knows what that is. Now he's adding glue to those pieces, and I mean, it looks like he got the alignment good. Good for him. Getting that all sorted out. I maybe would have figured out my mortises and the ends of those pieces to hook into the legs first, because now he's going to have to do all that layout with this thing glued up, which is going to be a little bit harder, but sure, he'll get it figured out. Now he is back over to a sheet of plywood. I have no clue what he is doing. This is maybe like some sort of support piece for the stretchers? I am at a loss. That doesn't make any sense. It's going to be really weak too with those long pieces across the grain. What the heck is he do? Oh my gosh. Here I am trying to guess how in the world this fits into the bench. And, oh yeah, put some sawdust on either side. That's like using bumpers on the bowling alley. Yeah, feel real good about that putt with the sawdust assistance. Okay, so that obviously had nothing to do with the actual build. His legs seem to be dry, so he took those out of clamps. He's putting a round over on all of the leg pieces to match the top. Those look very nice, well done. Now he's got to figure out that joinery into the legs. I would have done this before I glued up that centerpiece. I would have done the mortises and the legs before I rounded it over. He's just making it a little harder on himself because he's eliminating the amount of reference surfaces he has to work with, and now he's got to work with that big glue up. So anyways, cut all your mortises, figure out all your joinery before you start gluing stuff up and shaping things. But now, is he going to be able to add... See, it's funny because he could have done this exact same thing for those stretcher pieces and not use the dowels. I just don't think he realizes that fence on the top of the domino joiner flips up so you can set it in the middle of your piece. I mean, you can do a domino in the middle of a sheet of plywood. So that's funny. And now he's doing those mortises in the ends of that internal stretcher piece. And then I think this is probably just a dry fit because I didn't see him put any glue on those. But everything came together pretty nice. You got a combination of dowels and dominoes, so good for you. And set the top on. Now, I don't want to be too nitpicky. I would have brought the legs out a little bit. I think they're inset a little too much for my taste. And I would have thickened up that bench seat just a tad. I think it looks a little too thin, but that's just me. I think he's trying to figure out now how he's going to attach the base to the top. And it looks like because he's got the domino joiner out, I'm guessing he's going to use Z fasteners, which he's seen me use a lot, and drink some bourbon, apparently, while he sands, which is another very smart thing. I always tell people, if you want to make sanding more fun, just drink while you do it. It makes everything more fun. Wow, that made me sound like an alcoholic. I'm not, I promise, Mom. Okay, so he's got those domino mortises cut for his Z-clip fasteners. Now he's gluing his whole base up. He's got a lot of squeeze out in those corners, which is going to be a pain to clean up and then get finish in all those little cracks. For finish, he's using Rubio Monocoat Mud Light. That's one of my new favorite colors. I used to be a cotton white guy, but I'm really starting to like the Mud Light. It's like a dirty cotton white. I don't know. I really like it on white oak. Yes, Rubio everywhere. I've seen Craig do this a lot because you might not realize it. He does a lot of the sanding for me. He also does a lot of the finishing for me. He's actually really good at putting finish on stuff. That looks pretty nice. I like the color. What is he doing? Okay, he's just getting it set up to attach his base to his top, getting it nice and centered. I mean, it doesn't look bad with the legs inset like that. I just would have brought them out another, I don't know, maybe 3 inches on each side. But I think the bench is done. I can't think of anything else he would have to do to it. I'm honestly really impressed for never building anything before and really just, is it gonna fall apart? No, look at that. For really just getting his only skills are from watching me in the shop. That's pretty impressive. That's a nice looking bench. He should be proud of that. It's obviously very sturdy, which is saying a lot because Craig could lose a few pounds. And I'm just kidding. I mean, look at it. In their entryway. So this is in Craig's house. Look at that. It looks like some designer, piece of furniture. Now he's got a place to sit and put on his golf shoes. Okay, going golfing. I know for a fact that he finished this bench in the middle of the week, which means he's golfing when he's supposed to be working. Just because you got your bench done doesn't mean there's another stuff to do. Oh, and you're taking your kids with you? Gosh, wish I was golfing. Here I am voicing over the video for your project. I have to say, I am genuinely impressed. The bench looks fantastic. I didn't know exactly what he was building there at the beginning. It was really fun to try and guess as I went through. But all in all, I expected something much worse. And I know that makes me sound like a terrible person. But think about it. Think back to the first piece of furniture you ever made. I know that mine looked horrible, and I am embarrassed to talk about it at this point. I made so many mistakes. So Craig, for his first piece of furniture, that looked pretty darn good. Check the link in the video description. Craig put all the supplies and products that he used down in the video description, so check that out. Also, there's a link to our Patreon account. If you want to sign up for that, you get a bunch of behind the scenes footage. We do weekly live YouTube question and answers. We got links to merchandise. We got new hats up on the website. There's a ton of stuff, so check the video description. Now, I've got a little mess I have to clean up because Craig said because he built this week, I have to clean. I guess that's only fair. What the heck even happened here? Never again, Craig. Never again. That was the good stuff.